Hey everyone, so today I want to go over the build of my CRF450RL. Now, originally I wanted to get something more like a dirt bike, like a CRF450RX, but being in New Jersey, there's very limited places to really be able to use a dirt bike. So I wanted something that I'd really be able to use a lot more often. So I decided to, rather than getting a dirt bike that I can't drive on the street and it's very difficult, if not impossible, to make them street legal, I would start off with something like this, a CRF450RL, which is a street legal vehicle, and turn it into more of a dirt bike general purpose vehicle where I can drive it on the road, I can jump on a trail, and then get right back on the road, and it's completely street legal. Now, I usually don't modify my vehicles a lot, but with this, I actually did do a lot of modifications to this thing. I pretty much have it the way I want it now. I might tweak a few things here and there, but I did change a considerable amount of things. I just want to go over everything I did to make this a really good general purpose sort of on-road, off-road motorcycle that I can really ride anywhere. And it's, at the end of the day, it's street legal and I can go on the roads with it or go on the trails with it. So first thing I did, I wanted to kind of get the dual sport look away from it and have it look and be more of a dirt bike. So first thing I did was I deleted the standard mirrors that come on the bike, and I ended up, originally I had the mirrors below it, like the Supermoto style mirrors, and later on I ended up, I'll show this later in the video, I changed it to these side mounted mirrors behind the hand guards, so it gives it more of that dirt bike look. I also went to TST for the tail tighty. It had an enormous tail on the back of it the way they do stock, and it was huge, so now I have that small tail tighty, got the light on it, so it makes it a much more cleaner look. And I also went to Source Off-Road for the turn signals. The rear signals especially, if you drop this thing with the stock signals on it, they stick out so much you're probably going to snap them off. So I wanted something smaller. So if the bike goes down, it's not going to break the turn signals off, but they're still nice and bright. So I can still have turn signals. They're very noticeable. They're nice and bright. So just something that's nice and more tucked in, LED, very bright. Again, I went to Source Off-Road for that. Very quick, simple, easy install. It took a little bit of time, but very, very simple. Really didn't even need instructions for it. It's pretty self-explanatory to do that. Also, I wanted to get the power back in this thing. A CRF450, like an R or an RX, are like 52 horsepower, give or take, like low 50s. This, because it's street legal, is a lot less. It's about 38 horsepower. It has emissions controls on it. They detune it significantly. The non-street legal dirt bikes have higher compression. The cams are more aggressive, so you're just naturally going to get more power out of that. So I wanted to try to get as much power back as I reasonably could without really having to crack into the engine and go crazy. So to get that power back, I did a twin air power flow kit for the intake. I did a Graves full titanium exhaust. Not only is it got to flow a lot better, make more power, but it knocked a ton of weight off the bike. The stock exhaust system is considerably heavy, has a catalytic converter in it, so it's got a significant amount of weight to it. And then I did the supporting tune from 550 Performance. I did their stage 1 tune. Since that stage 1 tune is designed for a full exhaust system with the intake change, that brought the power level up from about 38 to 45 horsepower. So a considerable and very noticeable jump in power. I like the tune. It's very, very smooth tune. It took the jumpiness out of it. This thing was almost undrivable at low speed because the stock factory tune is incredibly jumpy. Trying to drive low speed, 1-2 miles an hour, or if you're off-road and you're doing very, very technical driving off-road, very narrow, it's very hard to keep the bike smooth. That tune really took all that out of it and made this thing a pleasure to ride. Now, before I did the tune, I did a G2 throttle tamer on this thing, and that helped kind of tamp it down a little bit. Now, I left the throttle tamer on there. What the throttle tamer does is, the normal profile for the throttle is it's circular, so you have an even pull of the throttle cable throughout the entire range of the throttle. The throttle tamer, it has a little bit of a cam profile on it, where about the first quarter, it pulls the cable a little bit less, and then after about a quarter or so, it goes back to the standard round. So I left that on for now after the tune. So now what I have is, it is extremely smooth. It went completely opposite from being extremely jumpy and almost undrivable at 1-2 miles an hour to incredibly smooth. So about the first quarter throttle now, it is just, you can very lightly ease into it. You can go in between obstacles at very, very low speed and have the bike be very smooth. You can roll on the throttle a little bit. It's not jumpy. It's just, it will progressively pick up a little speed. And then you're noticing on more open areas, if you're on the road, when you roll into the throttle, the first quarter throttle or so, it's very, very tame. And then after that, once it goes to the regular circular profile on the throttle, it really picks up power. So it's kind of nice. I might try testing it back with the original one, but I kind of like the way this is now. That first about quarter throttle, it's very, very tame. It's very, very smooth. You can ride it at low speed, on or off road with complete confidence. But if you really want to jump into the power, you just have to turn it a little bit more and the power really comes on. At first, I might have thought it'd been the power band, but it almost feels like it has a separate power band having that first little bit of throttle be very smooth. So, but I kind of like it like that. I'll see how I like it. I might maybe test it with the stock one back on, but having that little bit of power at the first quarter throttle and then having the rest of it once you get into it, it's kind of nice. So it's very, very tame, especially when you're trying some very low speed technical maneuvering. You have a very, very good control compared to, it was atrocious stock, and now it is 100% better. Just between the tune and the throttle tamer, it is absolutely excellent. I know the 550 Performance Tune is one of the popular ones, and it wasn't expensive. It was under $200 I got it for, and it really, really woke this thing up. It took a lot of the tuning out of it. It really should not have been there from the factory. It made this thing really a pleasure to ride, whether it's on road or off road. And then after I kind of started building it up, I decided I wanted to get a little bit more protection on this thing. So first thing I did, I put these handlebar, these guards on it for your hands and for the bars. These are Zetas, so they wrap all the way around. They have a little bit of a dip here. Solid, nice feel. And then I have the supporting mirrors that came with it. These were from SR Moto. These came as a nice kit. Little different ways to mount them, but overall real nice. They fit really nice. Definitely will keep your hands protected if I end up dropping the bike. It'll save the bars, it'll save the levers and all that kind of stuff. And then for the main protection for the bike, I went to T-Rex Racing. I basically got all their protection stuff. The main thing notice is the steel bars on the side. So that's going to protect a lot of the vital stuff on the bike. If the bike goes down, it's not going to hit the clutch cover. It's not going to hit the exhaust system. It's not going to hit the plastics. So pretty easy install. Obviously there's steel, so it will protect the majority of the bike if the bike gets dropped. And then underneath, they have their aluminum skid plate on the bottom. It protects a lot better than the stock plastic one does. It also goes back and protects the bottom of the geometry and the linkage for the coil for the rear suspension. So that's protected. If I go over something and it wants to hit the bottom of the suspension linkage, it's not going to break it now. It's protected under there. And then I just threw some axle sliders on there. Just in case I end up dropping it, it'll help protect the forks a little bit better and things like that. I didn't get into the engine. I didn't mess with the suspension or anything like that. I haven't changed any of the drive sprockets or anything like that. So it's all stock ratio. So I just wanted this thing to be a good, sort of fun, general purpose, on-road, off-road, kind of be able just to take it wherever I want to go and do that from there. So I just kind of want to go over the bike, just front to back with the camera, first-person perspective to show also the other supporting modifications that I did and sort of how they came out. Now the front of the bike remains largely stock. It's got the stock headlight on it. Now it was pretty high for the factory. I did have to adjust it. That's something that new CRF450RL owners should just know. It was pretty high even stock. These are the Source off-road turn signals. These use the factory mounts, and you have to buy a adapter plate with them, and then they sit here nice and small and tucked in, but they're still nice and bright, and they're not going to break off very easily. I just threw some mounts on here if I just need some sort of anchor point to mount it for whatever, service, transport, whatever it may be. Just a couple of bucks, put these things on here, real simple and easy. The bike, again, stock brakes, stock suspension. So here's your axle protectors from T-Rex Racing, just real simple, basic thing. It'll especially help to protect the brake hardware on the side of the bike. Stock cooling system as well, stock fuel tank. So decent range on this thing. I think that the tune will drop the mileage significantly, probably from high 40s to low 40s, but I think it's well worth the payback in the drivability and performance of this bike. These are the Zeta handlebar protectors. So these are the little bit of the nicer ones. You can get them in different configurations. I have mine bar mounted. You can get them mounted onto the top of the triple tree here if you want to do that. There's different options for that. I obviously got the matching Honda red color. And these also, the option, these were from SR Moto. These are the options for the mirrors. This mirror is a little bit more of a convex mirror, so the image is a little bit smaller. It's not as big as the stock one would be, but they're also nice and tucked in. They have a little bit of adjustability on them, so, but they're not bad overall. So I also did the Zeta bar risers. These are the taller ones. I believe they're 31 millimeter. So now I can stand up on the bike. I don't feel like I have to reach down to hold on to the handlebars. So definitely a very easy install, well worth it if you need the bars to be a little bit closer to your body positioning. You can see the throttle tamer here. It's this nice CNC. It also took the rattle out of the bar. The stock one had a lot of rattle on it because it was just plastic, but now it doesn't have that. So overall, pretty nicely built, pretty well put together. I also did the Zeta 3-finger adjustable levers, both clutch and brake. These will bend backwards, so if you hit them on something, they're not going to snap off. And they're 3 fingers, so they're smaller, so you can comfortably leave 2 fingers on the bars to activate these. The stock factory brake lever was adjustable, but the clutch was not, which I did not like. So I just got the matching set. So because the clutch stock was just a little too far out of my grip to comfortably be able to grab it. So now I don't have to use 4 fingers. I can really just use 3 and leave 2 fingers on the bar. And just having the adjustability there made it so much better. So expensive, but well worth it. These are the delete plugs for the mounts for the factory mirrors. And then one thing I really wanted to do was I wanted more data on this bike. Unfortunately, the stock dashboard really doesn't give you much. Basically just speed and a couple basic lights and some basic data, that's it. This is a mini computer that is made by 12 O'Clock Labs. It's about $200, well worth it. It was a very simple install. Plug and play, it plugs into the data connector under the seat, and on the back side of this, there's a plug that it plugs into to get data from it. I thought it was going to be a little bit of an issue to set it up. It probably took longer to just do a really clean install and run the wire than it did to actually set this thing up, because since I have all the stock size sprockets, the speedometer was accurate out of the box. I didn't have to recalibrate that, and it is nice to be able to add the main data points I was looking for on this were I wanted a tach and I wanted a gear indicator. So you just plug it in. I didn't have to do a speed calibration, so you can do a 12,000 or 15,000 RPM tach. You have air inlet temperature, engine temperature, and the battery voltage, and then when it's running, the odometer and hours go away. I just recently added that on. So simple install. The gear indicator is self-learning, so you basically just put it into learn mode, go out, and it prompts you just to go through the gears. Very easy setup. Now I'm glad I have that extra data, because now I know what my RPMs are. I know what gear I'm in if I just want to look down. So it's unfortunate that they don't provide that information, but this being a plug and play setup, fantastic. Well worth the money. And then the supporting dashboard I bought for it was from CRF only. So it's 3D printed as well, so it all looks the same. A lot of people actually looked at this and they thought this was stock. They didn't realize that I added this on because it has a nice, simple, clean look to it, which is what I really, really wanted. So, like I said, stock suspension. You have a breather on here because the stock hose. You basically just have to have the gas cap just hang from the bike when you're fueling it because you can't take it off. So that's a lot better to have. I also did a full delete kit on this thing with the help of Moto. Took a few pounds off it, simplified it, less failure points, less issues to have with the bike. So well worth it. For like $100 just to delete everything and just kind of clean everything up and make things simple and take away some of the potential failure points on the bike. So T-Rex Racing, the steel bars, steel protectors. You can obviously see the titanium pipe that it has on here. So this is going to protect it pretty well. These bars, they stick out just enough where they really help to protect the bike, but they're really not intrusive. You do not hit, your foot is not in the way at all. They don't even come close to my feet when I'm riding it. So I did not put the factory shield on the pipe. The pipe actually doesn't let off as much heat as you would think it would. The bulk of the heat comes from this clutch cover. Now this normally, because it's the RL, it has a plastic cover here on top of this. The problem with that is it kind of keeps a lot of the heat in. It's got foam behind it and it's plastic, so it keeps the heat in. It's nice because you don't notice the heat, but it'll just kind of keep the heat inside the bike. So I took this off. It gives it kind of more of a clean dirt bike look. I think this looks much better than having that on there, and it lets the heat get out of the clutch a little bit better, so I'm sure it helps everything run cooler. Usually the oil on this thing runs usually not over 180 degrees, so the bike stays for the most part pretty cool even when I'm out riding in the hot weather. So stock thermostat, I left that on there. It's a thermostat, it's fine. But the exhaust system was a pretty easy install. Putting these bars on was pretty easy. A couple bolts here, one there. Had to take the foot peg off. Pretty simple and easy. This is all stock. All the suspension stock. You can see the skid plate on the bottom. It definitely helps to better protect all the linkage for the suspension. So now if I roll over something, because the stock one stopped about here, and it was plastic, so it was kind of more there for show. It didn't really do much. So axle slider on the rear, titanium muffler. I took the sticker off for a nice clean look. Stock seat. Some people don't like the seats. It's not the best seat, that's for sure, but it definitely gets the job done. So I might upgrade at some point. You can see the turn signals are nice and tucked in now. So if the bike goes down, you're not going to snap off these Source Off-Road LED turn signals. So standard kickstand setup, that's all. None of that's been changed. I also took the plastic off of here. So normally you have to take this plastic off and you service it anyway. So here's the oil filters under here. Again, the bars protect everything here. So got a nice and clean under here. Got rid of a few items, took some of the complexity out of it. But overall, it really has that dirt bike look to it, and the power's there. It runs a lot better than it used to. It's much more drivable than it used to be. So this was sort of a fun build I did. There's really nothing, this really isn't that complex of a build. It's a lot of just mostly bolt-on parts that I wanted to just really improve the look of the bike, improve the performance of the bike, be able to better protect the bike with some of the protection pieces I added. And as time goes on, I might add more things here and there. But overall, the bike is much better than it used to be. It was fun to put all this stuff on, and it's a much more usable, drivable bike now. The tune and the supporting performance parts that go with it really they were probably the most dramatic difference that was on this bike. It really made the bike a lot better, kind of more what it should have been from the factory, from Honda, because now this is very, very drivable. I can drive it on the street, I can run errands with it, I can have fun with it, just go wherever. If I want to go off-road with it, I can. I can control it low speed, very smooth. I can have good power if I really need to dive into the RPMs and dive into the power on this thing. It's now really, really smooth, but the power is there. So a nice fun build. I didn't track exactly how much I spent on everything. It was probably about $3,000 with all the parts that I did and all the modifications that I did. So in that neighborhood. So what you're looking at with the bike that I bought new, this is probably about a $13,000 build, give or take, on the bike. So the bike's about $10,000, and you got to put tax on that depending on where you live. But all the supporting parts, the upgrades were in the neighborhood of about $3,000. It's about a $13,000 build, but it's something I'm going to enjoy for a long time. I enjoy driving this thing off-road. I enjoy driving around with on-road, just kind of using it for general purpose. A good go anywhere, street legal vehicle where I can go anywhere I want, take it anywhere I want, and really not be limited to only off-road use on something like this. And everybody that looks at it really thinks it's a dirt bike, and that's what I like about it. It has that look, but it's got the performance, and it's a street legal motorcycle at the end of the day. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.